Hello and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Monday, June 1st, 2020, and today's topic is called Moon, Sky Phase, Paradise Bird, and it's a collection of images taken between May 25th and May 30th, 2020. Now, before we begin with the sky observations, I'd like to kick it off with a little starter image, either healthy food, comfort food, or junk food. In this case, some comfort/junk food went out. But I'd like to say, again, welcome, whether you're new or returning. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to wish you a good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobroho dnia, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry den, aloha winala, and galimera. Alright, so we're going to shake things up a bit and start off with some moon surface images, a little sequence here. I did manage to upgrade a bit and get a refractor telescope on a tripod, but the tech is still a little in the rough stages, so these are just images taken manually holding an iPad up to the telescope eyepiece. Note that with a refractor telescope the images will be inverted, meaning upside down, so these craters would really be up here. That's just a function of the refractor telescope. So until I get some mirror type equipment that, makes things go right side up, this is how we're going to be looking at it. So one image is taken on the 27th of May, and you can just see there's a little burn spot here. There's no filters involved on these, and I did not enhance these in any way, so they're going to be a little out of focus. You just kind of see them as they are. So this is showing that the original magnification on this telescope, it's taken it to 45 times zoomed in. It goes all the way up to 675 times in, which you'll see in a minute. So anyway, these are just some views of the surface. So this is not the full, totality of the moon. Obviously, this is just a segment of it. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so this is still 135 times zoomed in, and then we go to 675 times. So again, these represent just a small portion of the moon that we're zoomed in tight on. And I didn't note on the last one we had a waxing crescent, and it was illuminated, I think, at 18%. And this one is on a different day on the 29th, and it's illuminated at 37%. Okay, here's just another zoom in of the surface, and again, it's still a little fuzzy. I did not alter the contrast or anything. And as we start taking more of these and presenting them to you, hopefully they'll get sharper and more in focus. But again, this was just our little debut trying out this telescope with the imagery. Okay, so here's the image, the same image enhanced a bit, meaning I played with the contrast, the sharpness on it, and the brightness, just to try to see if it could get any better. Really didn't, but anyway, I tried. And here you just see some features, a little exaggerated, just to see if it's anything of interest. All right, then looking at it, I'm like, well, these are very specific in shape graphically, so they should be easy to find, the crater names of, and sure enough, if you do a search online, especially if you're very specific, like saying a waxing crescent illuminated at 37% or 18% or whatever, you'll see that people have taken the time to label all of these craters. So I just picked out some of the main ones, and again, these craters would be flipped up to the top, not upside down. In reality, looking at the moon with your eyes, not through a telescope. But anyway, here is Katarina, this crater, and then Cyrillus, and then either Theophilus or Theophilus, wherever you are in the world, depending on how you pronounce it. But anyway, just very interesting. So if nothing else, I can tell you the names of 3 craters on the moon. There's so much more, obviously, to explore and identify. So do that on your own if you haven't done it already. Alright, so now starting closer to our atmosphere on Earth here, we're looking at some clouds. Now this was the overall image. I noticed just a weird disturbance of activity, the way this cloud grouping was. Just looked strange, this dropped down. This looked like actually 2 semicircles with something in the middle. Just thought it was odd. I thought I should photograph it. But then I was looking down here, and I thought, wow, I've never seen this happening. So what is this little hovering piece, and then this form? Just very bizarre, so I thought I would share it with you, capture it. Okay, now this was happening on May 30th, but it actually was happening at a couple other times during the past week. And if you look at my previous show, I captured a similar thing, except it started to turn really artificially feeling yellow and brown, like sulfur was in there. So I'm still calling that this is artificial. This is emanating from the northwest. It spreads out like a cone shape. just kind of this weird twisted pillar of very, specific form, structure within it. Anyway, to the sides it starts fraying like this, which also does not seem normal. And then what happened was, as you're looking at it, it would come overhead and head over toward the southeast, and it would puddle out, like with a circular motion toward the end of this. So it's a little hard to capture just some photos, but this is then now like looking behind me from where I was looking at that column, and here's the edge spilling out, so here you still see some of that structure of that dark cloud. And I just thought I would zoom in on the edges. They just seemed a little interesting. Here they're catching some of the sunset, which is happening off to the right of the photo to the west. And then here's just this odd single floating, cloud, I'll say, in quotes. Anyway, look at a previous show that I've done on that too, trying to get at what is this. Alright, so here's that dark column, and then here it's still spreading out. And in the spread out, I just noticed, oh wow, I was looking at the moon, obviously, in the back of the haze here. And then I noticed a face emerging. So this is just an original photo, no enhancement. This is a photo taken a minute later, because now the moon is in the crack here. And I put the contrast on it, and sharpness and brightness features just to pull out the face more obvious. So here's the tip of the nose, the nostrils, just above the lip, upper lip and lower lip, and the chin would be down here. So one eye would be hidden here and the other here. So anyway, I just had to capture that sky face and share it with you. Okay, now here's a zoom in. Here's still that dark cloud tower, activity happening. And then we have a break in the clouds, and you see this, it was an odd colored sun, I have to say. Here I've zoomed in to catch how yellow it was turning, and orange. And then we have just this bold red streak or stripe, crossing the sky. And I'm not sure why, it's just this thin strip, but there it was. So it was a little more redder to the naked eye. You see a little tinge of the red in here too. So I boosted it up in an exaggerated way, enhanced it, just to pick up where the reds were happening. And as you can see, there's a bunch more red happening, right around this thing. And of course, that begs the question, why red? What is causing this red? I've covered that in other shows, just notions, speculations, things to put out there for you to ponder further and research on your own, whether it's online or, hopefully with your physical eyes, going out and catching these things in the skies above wherever you are. But again, previous shows called Red Tinged Skies, Why? And I do reference what could this phenomenon be in many other shows as well. Okay, here's the sequence on a different day of the sunset. The very final photo is put behind my sunglasses just to try to capture how crisp this line was. It was a perfect ball. Unfortunately, it didn't quite come out that way. But anyway, we start off close to 6:50 p.m. An artificial-looking white light, blurred, glared source off to the west. All of these are looking west. Now, again, look at a previous show as well where I talk about the idea of there being a solar simulator and artificial tech employed to radically alter or obscure our natural sun and just cause it to, be observed in different ways than what the natural sun ever was. And so have a look there and at other sky and earth watching channels. Also, so as we move along, the sun starts to turn a little bit golden. This brown line, the brownish part, is smoke from a wildfire happening further to the west in the National Everglades. I'm pretty sure that is what's happening. Here, this is clearly chemical, artificially dropped chemical trails. You see the geometric pattern, you see the chemical-filled properties, spreading out and hanging in the sky. And again, if you're not familiar with that, I go over the differences between the chemtrails, chemical trails, and the contrails, condensation trails, in a prior show called something like Sky Trails, the chems and cons. Have a look there if you're not familiar with the terminology. It's also called SAI, which is stratospheric aerosol injection. You'll see plenty of patents. You'll see intellectual property online, things that have been filed for, which just tell you this is what is happening, undeniably so. All right, now we're zooming into the ball a little bit, and as the clouds are forming and changing, again, evidence of the chemtrail. Here I just zoomed in because you see the smoky layer, and then this is getting really bright yellow, oddly so, around this ball. Here you can see it's a little more crisp of a ball. Here I zoomed in just because it looked very interesting, looked like the clouds were forming a claw to grab the ball of the sun. All right, now this is zoomed out on that same sun, so here you see the smoky cloud layer from the Everglades smoke coming in from the west. And then here, look at this. I just call it, Chemhaze, chemtrails, chemgrid, because this is clearly, denser, deliberate, streaks of this stuff put into the sky. This even looks like a little chem drop of some type. But anyway, you be the judge for yourself. But just, this is a grid. This is not something occurring in nature. And the question is, why is this smoke and mirrors effect, so to speak, being put in the western sky? At what is it, close to 7:30. Even if this started at 7 or whenever, the sun is clearly already going down. So it's not like, oh, the sun's too bright, let's veil it so it's not so hot. No, that's not what's happening. So this is purely to hide whatever might be coming up in the night sky. Or there's a little golden moment, like right after this, for about 7 minutes as we get closer, to like 8:20 these days. There's a flash of red that happens over 7 minutes, 8 minutes long. You'll start to see, like that streak I showed you, you'll start to see some very red things. So to me, this seems to be a deliberate attempt to veil our humans' ability to see what's really going on in the sky beyond. All right, now, as you know, if you've watched any of my other shows, and if not, I like to close on a little note of nature, and it just happens to be whatever nature item crosses my path, sometimes literally, or whatever just inspires me in a week. In this case, the sunlight, the sunset light was just falling so nicely on this. This is a white bird of paradise tree. So this is the trunk at the bottom. The leaves are nice and broad and beautiful. The flowering pod, this looks like a beak of a bird, and then the blossoms are white and they stick out like this, so it looks like the head of a crane bird, and sometimes in some parts of the world they call it, I think, the crane. But anyway, these are after the blooms have kind of died a bit, so you have to go online to see a picture of it in its full glory, but it really is beautiful. Colors are just striking on this thing. So anyway, the scientific name is Strelitzia nicolai. It's also known as the giant bird of paradise. It's found in North America in Florida, Texas, and California, but it was never native to North America, apparently. Its origin is South Africa. It can grow up to 30 feet tall, and if you like the appearance of these broad leaves intact, you need to plant them outside of high wind areas, because if they are, and I've had this from direct experience, if they're in high winds, these things just get shredded and tattered. It's still a beautiful plant, but it just doesn't look as healthy and beautiful as it is there. So if you're curious about more in the world of the white bird of paradise, have a look at sites such as these, or find other sites on your own. All right, so here's the photo of the week I'm going to close on. I'm a penguin trapped in a human body. Now, this is a friend's mug. I don't feel like a penguin trapped in a human body. That's not my animal, but yeah, if you haven't thought about it before, think about it. What animal are you most closely aligned with? You have the old saying that some people are cat people and some people are dog people. Do you feel more like a cat or a dog? Or hey, do you feel like a unicorn or a dragon, or just some ball of light that's trapped in a human body? Whatever it is, it's just worth a little chuckle and a little pondering about that. So I would like to say thank you for just chilling out here a bit. Whatever's going on in your world, make it good. If there's seemingly a lot of darkness around you, then your reason is to be the light and hold that light up high. And you don't have to succumb to it. You can brighten it up and make it go away. So do that. Be outside, get fresh air, breathe in oxygen without a mask on your face. Go touch a plant, pet a dog or cat, observe birds, smell a flower, look up in the sky at the clouds and the sun, just or the moon. Be out and remember what we're here for. And by all means, please turn off the TV. Don't buy into any hype, and just remember what's real here is us and our ability to be the light. Anyway. Enough about that. So I wish you all, wherever you are in the world, daytime or evening, a beautiful week ahead. We've got a whole new week kicking off. And just I wish you tremendous, fantastic health, happiness, abundance, creative self-expression. Whatever you are looking for, may you bring it into your world this week. And I'm sending you an extra boost of encouragement in that process. So tremendous peace to everyone. Lavender Sky Panther, take care.